Hi, guys. Thanks for joining. This is Essence of Life, and today we're talking about how we see the world. I'm Amanda Armagast.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence.
So, this is one of our shorter podcasts. Everyone knows this is my favorite segment, the philosophy side. The question today is what makes you you? So, we're all so individual and we're very attached to who we are as individuals. I want to kind of discuss how we identify ourselves differently, and I'm always interested in how people see me. So, let's go. Dr. Abbasi, what do you think makes you you? Or what do you think makes an individual an individual? I'm not specifically talking about you or talking about me. I'm talking about humans in general. Like how do we separate ourselves?
That is the oldest question in philosophy.
Yep.
That is, who are we? What makes us us? What differentiates us against the others and so on? Like the Immanuel Kant said, I think so I am. But then, much older than him, the Greek philosopher said, no man swims in a river twice, because neither the man is the same man, nor the river is the same river. So we are ever changing, and the best practice of that to understand that what that is, go look at the videos or pictures or things you wrote better. That is, go read the essays you wrote just even a few years back.
I cannot.
Why?
I hate it. Actually, I've always been one of those people who's like, I should write a letter to myself. But I cannot go back and read those letters. Actually, sometimes I get into a journal mode and I start journaling for like a week. But then when I go and like look at what I wrote, I literally want to burn it. Like when I see what I myself wrote, I'm like, who are you? I don't like you. You're so embarrassing.
No, but that is the what nature of ever growing personalities. Like a few years back, I met my brothers in California, and then after that, I wrote a poem. I sometimes I do that, and my poem was about that how I envy them. They are the same people like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and they're happy. But what I notice in myself that there are always versions of me. Like maybe that changes are so ever so slowly happening to me. But if you compare me every 6 months, you will notice there are noticeable differences. But that is part of growing, meaning that truly, if you read your essays from 5 years ago and you love them, that means you didn't learn anything in the last 5 years. And we know that obviously self-love is good and so on, but on the other side, if you think you were perfect 5 years ago, that means you didn't grow in the last 5 years.
But what if you look back on your essays and you love them because you maybe wrote some goals down and you kept promises to your old self?
Now, well, yes, certainly, you have to deal with that in a healthy way. That is, I'm not saying you should hate yourself and so on, but if you should look at it in a healthy way. You see that in a ladder of growth, you understand you were few ladders down below, and now you're a few ladders up there. So you don't look down on yourself. But the question is again, what makes a person a person? What is at least neuroscience, psychoscience of being a person? Now, let's start with what things we do know. When is the earliest moment in your life you remember things?
Like 3 years old, 4
What do
years
you
old.
remember?
Oh, are you asking my oldest memory?
Yeah.
That's actually one of my favorite questions to ask people. My oldest memory is my mom holding me when I was a baby, and like I'm at my grandma's watching Everyone Loves Raymond, and she was feeding me out of a pink bottle.
That is cute. Well, what other memory do you remember?
I remember a lot actually a lot of like positive things from my childhood. And I remember a lot of really like weird dreams that I've had. Like one dream that I think of a lot is my childhood dog. We were really close. My mom, he was my mom's hearing dog. So he was like a really important part of the family. I had this dream that he became decapitated, and that was one of my earliest dreams that I can remember. And a different dream, like the same month, I think, that I had was my mom's arm getting chopped off by an alligator because he wanted me to hold his hand instead of my mom.
Now, it is interesting that you're mentioning you have something that was an actual memory and something that was a dream. Once you start looking at that scientifically, you would be surprised that lots of people have the same, and you would be surprised how they are mixing it sometimes, that they remember something as real that it was actually a dream, didn't really happen, and they think something was a dream, maybe it even happened. And as well, when once you start looking into that, you notice the reality was very, very different than what you remember it. As a matter of fact, imagine, you know that the musical chair, right? You tell a sentence to somebody, then that person says to somebody else, and so on.
That's the telephone game.
Telephone game, yeah. By the time it comes to you, it is completely different things. Every time you remember a memory and you literally taking it out of your memory bank, you delete it, you think about it, and you rewrite it. What does that mean? It is a telephone chair or telephone game that with time, especially the memories that you always remember, they change a lot. As a matter of fact, the most pristine kind of memory you have is the one that you never thought of, and now you're just, it is like a fragile piece of paper. When you bring it out, it's going to turn into dust. You have to rewrite it, put it back, and next time the same and the same. Now, and I argue that you ask who we are. We are an accumulation of our memories.
Okay.
I think that sort of explained that you remember certain things, but probably 5,000 things happen between those memories that you remember that you don't remember. We are in a state of mind that certain things in certain situations, like we know even what they are. If there is something out of ordinary, like you drove to work today, how many cars did you see, Amanda?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but you remember any of them?
From today, no.
Yeah, okay, but that is an active process to forget them, by the way. But imagine you see a car with the elephant sticking out of the car. You would not
Or
remember that.
imagine I see the car who almost hit me on my way home a different day, and then I know avoid that person.
Yeah, well, see, those things that are out of ordinary, they make an impression on your memory banks, and that is you should go back and those are things that really, like all those cars didn't really change your life, but that car that almost caused an accident, it was about to change your life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and when we go in life, we gather those memories and we put it in a memory bank. And when we have something, the first thing we do, we compare. Is there anything like that out there? Like, if you see the same person, you would remember and you would just not be behind that person or in front of you, just take a different road because that has an impact on your survivability. If somebody is like, you go to places and you always see a very aggressive, drunk person, you will remember that person. And wherever you are, you're going to try to avoid that person.
Yeah.
That has impact on your survivability. Your biology doesn't want to forget that. All the nice people who just walk by and has no impact on you, you forget, right? Or if there's somebody extraordinary nice that can have positive impact on you, that somebody who helped you, then you remember that too.
Yeah.
And that is the history of karma. You remember things and reflects on them. And but now imagine you have different. If you would grow up in different location, with different memories, with different language and so on, you would be a completely different person. And
That's true.
and now certainly our biology is the very important here as well. Like some people are just more prone to anxiety or to being drug addict because of they are more prone to be dependent personalities and so on. There are lots of who you ask what makes us, what makes me. I can just tell you an example of a computer. A computer comes, some computers, they have more memories. Some people remember everything. Some people don't remember everything. They have less memory. Some people are smarter than the others, is the reality. And some people are better, some computers are better connected. Some computers are connected to internet with a fiber optic, the other one just have to use the dial-up modem and so on and so forth. Those are biological things that we are born with. But then we make our own program and a memory. And we are a combination of that. Okay?
Yeah, I think this might be the first time we're actually agreeing philosophy style, because I was going to say that what I think makes a person is a combination of their thoughts and their actions, which I guess you could say that your thoughts and your actions are all based off of your memory.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a bad experience, you are going to react very different if you are confronted with that than if you never had a bad experience with, like, and then anxieties, like we talk about anxieties and so on. Okay, what triggers anxieties and so on, those are things that practically um are based on our lives, impregnate our action, they initiate our action, they practically they dictate how our actions are going to be. And how do other people perceive us? They perceive us based on what we say, what we do, and how we appear to them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously there is an internal me as well. When I'm alone and I talk to myself and so on, I, like Immanuel Kant said, I think, so I am. But then for outer world, for the rest of the world, I'm just a accumulation of what I say, what I do, how I appear.
Yeah.
And I can just not tell you enough how much of that is just the luggage, the baggage, what we accumulate over the years in our lives.
But there's also another aspect to who we are, which is like
Mhm.
who we project. Like, I am me, you are you. So the things that I say about you are actually maybe things that I'm saying about myself. You know what I mean?
That is
Like,
called projection. Are you talking about projections?
and that, yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, that is like that. Um, yeah, like that's there's lots of common sense and folklore about that. That a thief thinks everybody else is a thief. A happy person thinks everybody else is happy. A sad person sees everybody sad, and so on and so forth. And certainly, and that makes sense as well. See, do you think you see me right now, Amanda?
Well, what I see is actually really scary because the internet isn't like that stable. And so half of your head is moving and the other half isn't. Yeah, I wish you wouldn't do that.
Like my head is coming off. Look.
Yeah, it's actually been scaring me this whole time. But I know this is a short pod, so I haven't said
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. But now you think you see me, but you don't see me. You think you touch a person or think. You never do that. Everything is a model in your brain. And that model in your brain is how you take information from outside and build it inside of you. So it makes sense based on your internal structures that you have put together, that you build a model that fits your internal structure. Meaning that even a color, let's say talking about the color, okay? That was one of the experiment in my med school that really opened my mind. You know, the color green is actually a wavelength, right?
Yeah.
But then as well, you can mix two other color, blue and yellow, to make green, right?
Hmm.
So the experiment was in my med school is that on one side you have pure green, on the other side you have to mix yellow and blue to make a green that matches the other one, the pure green. Okay? And we were 11 people in my class. Not even two of us had the same mixture to make the green, pure green, with a combination of red and a combination of blue and yellow. Do you know what that means? None of us see the color green the same way. Not a single of 11 people, but we always see that green in our head is always the green is the green. So what is green for another person, we refer as well to green, even though they, in their mind, that green has a completely different kind of meaning and combination of colors or and that appearance than in mine. Okay, so and so is, you don't see me, you don't talk to me, you talk in your brain, you talk to a model of me that you built in your brain, that your awareness is talking to the model that you built, and that model is built by what I say, what I do. You pick up pieces and so on, like and that as well. It's sometimes extremely interesting when you look into that. Like I had a friend. If you would tell me about Ernest, I would say Ernest is he's funny, he's built well, he's this and that. It took until I came to United States that I even noticed Ernest is a black person from Ghana, from Africa. That was not in my model of Ernest. Okay? But then when I came to United States, I was more aware of the race and so on and so forth. And then I noticed, God damn it, Ernest was an African person. His attribute should have been, but in my model, Ernest had different attribute. Not sure if that makes sense to you, but you never see a person, you never talk to a person, you always talk to the model that you build in your brain from them. And there are certain situations that model can exist without actually having any external counterpart. We call that schizophrenia. And so when a schizophrenic person hears a voice talking to somebody, it is as real to them as I'm real to you.
Yeah.
Okay? So who are we? Again, what makes us us? I think we can talk for 10 hours and still not be able to answer that question. As a matter of fact, there are philosophers that say you are the only person you can be sure of existing.
Exactly.
And you have a friend that says the same thing, right?
A little bit less intelligently, yeah, I would say.
That friend of yours thinks everybody is just the
A
actor
character.
character in her personal show or something like that, right?
Yeah, she thinks that everyone is just there like when she sees them, and then when she doesn't
They're
see
not there.
them.
But you know, you that is what the philosophers are saying. You cannot prove that she's wrong.
But you can't prove that she's right.
No, no, but that is what I'm getting. See, you and I, we think that's ridiculous, right? But if you look at it in a systematic way, that view has the same validity as your view that everybody exists.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be sure that not everything else is a fiction of your imagination. Because in neuroscience, we know if you have a schizophrenia, like they have tons of very smart people who, like John Nash, the Nobel Prize for who invented the game theory, he has been living with the imaginary person his entire life, and that person didn't never go away, but he learned to ignore that person. But for him, that person was a real, actual touchable, talkable, he would have fight with that person. Like you would have a fight with your friend, okay? That was, now we know that was a fictive, imaginary thing, but for him it was real. And you cannot prove at the end of the day that everybody else, so your friend might be into something, what I'm getting at.
Well, before we end, I want to ask you this. Do you think like I am who I think I am, or I am who you think I am? Do you understand the question I'm asking?
Legally, you are who your environment think you are. For your environment, for the passport office, you are, um, now you're not. You are, now you, for them, you are Amanda and Armagos. You are born then and this. These are your attribute. You are a citizen of this and that, so on and so forth. If you show up and say, no, I'm a citizen of macadamia or
No,
something,
no. What if I say like I'm Amanda Armagost, yoga enthusiast, vegetarian, animal lover, peace girl, and my neighbor's like, no, she keeps chickens in the yard, she keeps them captured, so she's not an animal lover. She only goes to yoga 5 days a week. She's not an enthusiast. You know what I mean? Like, am I who I am, who I think I am, or am I who they think I am?
I don't believe you can legally. You are what your environment say you
But
are.
I'm this is not essence of legality. This is
But
essence of life.
in essence of life, in life, you are a combination of who you say you are, and some people are good. Some people are very good to fool the environment to make them believe hustlers, that charlatans. Some people are even really good at making sure that the environment have a different picture of them than they truly are. And some
Mhm.
people appear horrible people, but then in truth they are fantastic people. I think it's a combination. You cannot separate them. But some people care more about what the environment think of them, and they put a makeup, put a facelift, put a mask on to entertain that thing. Almost every single celebrity is doing that. Okay,
Oh, for sure.
so
Yeah.
what I'm getting at, and then we are, some naive people are surprised. Oh, he wasn't that nice. He's just, I'm so surprised and so on. Okay, I
Yeah.
think we should wrap it up here. That is was a very interesting short podcast.
Thank you guys for watching. This was Essence of Life, and we talked about who we are. I'm Amanda Armagost.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence, and we still don't know who we are.
I know who I am.